I'm here today in Rathcroghan, and this is Owainagat, otherwise known as the Cave of Cats. And I wanted to bring you here and show you a really interesting piece of history and folklore in Ireland. So we're in the west of Ireland at the moment, and this site here, Rathcroghan, is a really significant archaeological site. There's about 240 different sites in a 6 kilometre radius, so there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of hill forts and burial mounds and passage tombs and things like that. And where we're at today is the Cave of Cats. So underneath this beautiful hawthorn tree, we have this cave. And hawthorn is a very special tree in Irish mythology anyway, because there's a lot of fairy folklore surrounding the hawthorn. So it's really fitting that it's here under this huge hawthorn tree. And the cave itself has a lot of different stories related to it. So one of the stories goes that this is the birthplace of the festival of Samhain, and Samhain is essentially Halloween, so Gaelic, Celtic Halloween, the start of winter, and there's a lot of stories surrounding that in this cave, and this is said to be the birthplace of Samhain. So we can imagine that over thousands of years gone by, people would have come to this cave to celebrate the start of winter and say goodbye to the summer. It's also said to be the dwelling place of the Morrigan, and the Morrigan is the Celtic crow goddess. She's the goddess of war as well, and she was said to live in here, and there's a lot of stories about her coming out of this cave with her various animals and things like that as well. And there's some stories about cows that have gone missing down here and end up coming out at other caves miles and miles. So the cave itself, you can go down right into it. It's very muddy and it's quite tight, so you have to sort of squeeze yourself down through here, and then in the bottom there is a wider passageway that you can stand up in. But there are also inscriptions in Ogham, which is Irish tree language. There's quite a few cool things in here, and it's just a really important site, and so much history and folklore and things surrounding it. It was Christianized a bit later on, and they would call it the mouth of hell or the gateway to hell and things like that. But I like to think of it in the pre-Christian pagan tradition as being the dwelling place of the Morrigan and the birthplace of Samhain and things like that. And imagine the people that came here would have celebrated the seasons in the years gone by. So let's go and have a look in the cave.
Succumb to the deepest dark you're ever likely to know. Unaccountably, incongruously, words will spill into your mind, words which purport to describe the dark. Tenebrous, Stygian. Stay still, calm your breath, try them all on for size. But there is no word for this dark, a darkness so complete, so thick that it is tangible. You'll realise then, if you have not learned it before, that darkness is not simply a lack of light. Darkness is alive, and its life is obscured by light. Darkness puts out its tentacles and touches your face. Darkness licks at your eyes and grants you a different kind of sight. Darkness is the voice of the shadow, a voice which words can only feel. Listen. Is it the drumming of your own heart that you hear, or the long, slow heartbeat of the earth? Reach out, and there is nothing there. There is only you, whatever you might be, face to face with the long dark. Do you fear this? You should not. You should not, even when you remember that this was also the dwelling place of the Morrigan, the great queen, the crow goddess of death, war and rebirth. From here she emerged each Samhain, and from here she once came in her chariot, crimson cloaked, leading a heifer to mate with the famous brown bull. Can you feel it now, the soft brush of a black crow's wing? Stay with the dark. Stay with the dark.
So we're now at one of the other historical sites that make up Rathcroghan, and this one is called Rathbeg, which translates as a burial site for kings. And this is one of many burial mounds in the area. So what we can see today is essentially just a big hill, and there's quite a few of these in the area as well. I can even, sitting here, I can even see some over there as well. And basically this would be a place where people would bury the remains of their dead or cremated people, and all in this hill essentially. A lot of these sites were only used for short periods of time, but this one's a little bit unique in the fact that it was used from the Neolithic period right through to the medieval period. So even though this site is called Rathbeg, we don't actually know if there are kings buried in this mound at all. No one has excavated this or many of the other burial mounds in this area yet, so there's a lot of things within these hills. I'm sure they've got a lot of stories to tell, but the truth is no one knows yet. But we do know that these sites were used as burial mounds, so it's quite interesting to just walk around, and you can see the other ones as well. Just walk around the hills and imagine the importance and the significance that this would have had over the years of people coming here to bury their dead.